So even from that report, we hear questions, a lot of questions unanswered. I mean, even the legal individual there who talked about it, the lawyer, he did ask if the act actually empowers the CBN to implement this. That's on the one hand, listed 5 businesses that are supposed to be involved in this. But we do know that from the circular that the CBN shared, all electronic transactions are supposed to be taxed 0.5%. And then also at the end there, I did note that those exemptions, so how do you differentiate it when you go to the bank? Can I just choose to put any narration there so that I can get the exemption of the 0.5? Who's really checking all of it? And then what Dr. Muda Yusuf also brought up there, if going by the number of last year, electronic transaction was about 300 trillion naira. So we're looking at about 3 trillion naira at the end of the year, 1 year, for electronic transaction or cyber security levy. Who's monitoring that money? Who's regulating the use of it? So many questions that I know will dominate conversations concerning this. At least we have 2 weeks to do this conversation before implementation is supposed to start, because we've seen LCCI asking that it be stepped down, among others. Now, let's find out what individuals or consumers are saying. So we have joining us in the studio now. He's a chartered accountant, so he should be able to do the numbers well. The principal partner at Kingsley Ayoze and Company, Mr. Kingsley Ayoze, is a chartered accountant. Joins us. Mr. Kingsley, could you come forward? Thank you. All right. So you're a chartered accountant. Well, we have to thank Mr. Ayoze because he's kind enough to share his monthly spending with us. That's what we have here. This is from him. So, Mr. Ayoze, so we see you shared this before the program so we could work with that. You said this is your monthly expenditure. Yes. Obviously, being an accountant, you have factored in the 0.5 because most of this you do electronically at this point. Exactly. So take us through with CPMS. That's obviously petrol for the car. Exactly. And the generator. Exactly. Cooking gas. Foodstuff. Yeah. So you said you use about 80,000 naira. So 0.5% is 400. So we see. Exactly. That's giving us a total of 80,400 naira. Then for cooking gas, what do we spend on monthly basis? Do you use a cylinder of cooking gas for a month? Yes. Okay. Yes, exactly. So on a monthly basis, the total amount being spent on cooking gas is 50,000. So when I got home, I decided to apply the 0.5% on that 50,000. It's now giving me a total of 50,250 naira. Then I looked at foodstuff. We go to shopping mall to buy foodstuff that we eat. On average, we spend about 180,000. Bearing in mind that these expenditures are being affected via the mobile banking apps. The 180,000, now when I apply the 0.5%, is now giving me a total of 180,900 naira. So we have an incremental cost of 900 naira as against what was being expended before. I look at subscription. I subscribe for DSTV. I subscribe for my internet facility at home because I had to work at home. Prior to this, I was spending a total of 50,000 naira. But when I factor in the cyber security levy of 0.5%, that have actually jacked up to 50,250 naira. Then we looked at recharge card, 20,000. But now, if I must incur that expense, I have to factor in the 0.1%, which are 5%, which has given us a total of 20,100 naira. The utility bills. Utility bill, I'm tempted to. Are you in band A? Well, somebody said. Because you used 35,000 naira. No, I'm not really too convinced the band I am into. But on average, what I spend is about 35,000 naira. But now I've also factored in the 0.5%, and that is giving me a total of 35,175 naira. Then finally, I looked at healthcare. Yes, we must keep ourselves healthy. We must visit the jet to see how healthy we are. On monthly basis, averagely, we spend about 40,000 naira. But if I should go there again for this kind of treatment, we'll be spending a total of 40,200 naira. So when I did a summation of my expenses prior to the cyber security levy introduction, that gave me a total of 455,000 naira. But then if I should incur that now
starting from today or going forward, that will give me
from the 20th. Supposed to start from the 20th.
20th, yeah. That will give me a total of 457,275 naira. So we're now having an incremental expenditure jacking up to 2,275 naira.
But Mr. Yose, the first reaction would be, I mean, it's just 2,275, and you shouldn't feel that much for a month, an increase in your...
Let me ask you, that is not the only expenditure that we have to incur via the mobile app. We have other expenses. You have the card issuance maintenance fee, you have the... you
have the stamp duty.
You have the stamp duty, you have the alerts, you have the RR to charge, all of these things. So if we add it up, we're no longer looking at 2,270. So it's a wake-up call. We need to look at it holistically because it's going to impact on my spending on monthly basis.
Yeah.
Apart from this too, you have the children's school fees to be taken care of. You talk about the rent and all of those issues. So it's not just the 2,275 that we are looking at.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess the Office of the National Security Officer Advisor could also say that cybersecurity is a threat to businesses, is a threat to the country, and should also be given priority. So if we ask you, Mr. Yose, to please start with about 2,275, that shouldn't be too much to ask of you.
Well, for myself, it may not be too much for me because of my own status. But have you also considered the downtrodden, the people at the lower edge? That is a huge amount of money on their own part. And that is the concern. I am not just looking at myself as an individual, but I have to also consider the people out there. So, remember too, if you want to withdraw over the POS center, you still have to incur other charges. Just for you to withdraw is total sum of 500 naira, 5,000, you still incur 100 naira extra. So when you factor all of these things, the burden is too much.
So do you see this discouraging average Nigerians, from embracing cashless and electronic transactions?
Definitely. It's going to discourage them. Most people would just decide to keep their money at home and spend from home.
And that will also birth another risk which we thought we had overcome, which is, the armed robbery and all of that.
Exactly. So my own view that the government should take a look at it once again. And if you must ask, why not start from the top echelon? Why taxing everybody? So
maybe because the government also needs revenue, for the running of the country. That might also be a motivation.
The government should also consider the impact of such a levy or a policy on the general masses. We have a lot that we are going through. The PMS have also jacked up a lot of things. You are not bringing the cybersecurity levy on us again. It's too much.
So are you saying the government should reduce or should eliminate?
They should eliminate those at the lower chamber.
Okay, so it should be like segmented taxing.
Segmented, exactly. That's my own view on that.
Oh, so but people like you, I'm sure you can do away with.
Well, I can't.
With just 0.5%.
I can't.
Yeah, but I think the more important thing here is 2,275 from an individual, which does not even cover all the expenses.
Exactly.
And then you now compare it to about 3 trillion naira if we're going by the preceding year,
exactly,
of electronic payment. And then, of course, questions will begin to come as in what would cybersecurity strategy or goal more than 3 trillion naira, especially at a time when macroeconomic indices are not so friendly on individual, on purchasing power. Consumers are getting squeezed on different fronts.
Yes. So my own view that the government should begin to look inward. They should look at other means. They should look at other sources of reaping this revenue, other than trying to impose the burden on the masses. It's as if at every point in time, they are going after the masses, and the masses are crying. You need to go out there and see how people are revolting. People are really crying. That is too much. It's too much. Every time, we cannot breathe. So they should allow the masses to breathe. So that's my own view on that.
Yeah,
I am speaking for the masses.
The president did say let the poor breathe. Well, thank you so much for sharing your home spending with us, Mr. Yose. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right,
thank you so much. My pleasure.
Okay, so I guess some of us can relate with some of those numbers. Some people cannot. But, I mean, this is what could happen if the government, if the CBN or the Office of the NSA go on with the implementation of the cybersecurity and at a time where a lot of people are being squeezed. Obviously, even people in the lower cadre of the economic status will also feel the pinch. Well, let's take a break here now, and then when we come back on Business Incorporated, we head to the markets. Just stay with us.